Hello and welcome to Flooring Models Kit View Time. Today we've got Eduard's release of the legendary P-40 in 1/48 scale. So what we got down in here is the P-40E. Again, this is the sort of standard Profi pack. Obviously we've seen the Royal Class versions and things like that, but this is more the Profi pack one. To be honest, this is the one I was waiting on. So looking down on the box, you can see beautiful box art. Again, it's one of these things where the box art just gets better and better with these things. Very, very nice, and clearly it gets bonus points because it's got a shark's mouth on it. So you can see, got the various bits around on here. So your kit number for this one is 82241. And then down on here, you can see that we've actually got some of the markings down in here. And clearly my favourite with this one down in here from the North Africa area as well. So very, very nice to see that one. If I'm doing it, that is definitely the one we're going to be doing. So in the box, we are greeted by this side. We've got clear sprue. So obviously you've got a couple of canopies, the various versions, things like that down in there. We've got double bag sprue 1, double bag sprue 2. And then of course we've got all the Profi pack goodies as we'd expect. So down in here we've got obviously colour photo etch set as well as normal photo etch just down in there. All right, we've also got mask set for it, which is very nice as well, and of course those gorgeous decals which we'll look at in a moment. But as always, we will start with the instructions themselves. So usual blurb all about it down in there. You know, let's face it, we've said this before, but they're going to get their money's worth on this. So what we've got down in here is obviously a lot of parts aren't used. We're going to get lots of versions of P-40s coming out of here. Generally though, working our way right the way through, as you might imagine, really nice detailed cockpit set. So we've got all the seat being put together. We've got the actual cockpit itself going down in there. All the lumps and bumps, the different gun sights, obviously for the different versions you might be building. And then down in here, obviously we've got the instrument panel going together with the colour photo etch set, which is very nice indeed. Then over on this side, again, we've got the various ones with internal walls. So we've got the ones, but again, making sure you've got the markings depending on which version you're going to be doing down in there. And then same goes for the other side, building up for a full cockpit tub. All right, no engine with this one. So obviously we just got the exhaust being fitted down into there as well. The actual big intake as well, that famous mouth that the actual P-40s have, obviously with the 3 radiators behind it. Then we've actually got the doors, which is showing about doing that as well. So again, the sort of cowl flaps, I suppose they are for the engine as well for the exhaust system. So again, you've got the various stages how you can have that posed and put through, I should think. All right, then it's just a case of putting it all together, which is very nice indeed, and then working your way through the rest of the build. So exhaust going actually into that manifold system. We've got the side windows, talk about those going in, and the intake being fitted down underneath. Then we're working into the wheel wells, nice detailed wheel wells. The little belly area as well for the P-40 and the little fillet to the rear. Wheel wells are being installed into the wings. And then obviously the wings going on. We don't really have posable ailerons on here, but they could easily be made posable by just removing the tabs. And then we've got the covers and things like that going through. Again, as we know, there's a lot of aftermarket coming down the line for this particular one, so we're expecting to see full gun bays and all the rest of it come right the way through. Tail system going on there, and obviously the rudder being fitted down onto this one completes obviously that part of the build. Then you can fit onto the wing being fitted to the fuselage. We've got the actual little lights on the actual wingtips, navigation lights, things like that. And then obviously down in here, we've got the main gear going together right the way through. And again, looking pretty sharp all the way as this one goes together. All right, a few of the actual actuators and the various bits and pieces for the gears being fitted down into there, and obviously the things around the doors, things like that for the actual main system on there. Canopy being fitted, again, make sure you get the right one because obviously there's multiple ones out there. And then down onto here, then we can carry on getting the rest of the final bits or pieces put on here, so we can actually put the prop on and the spinner, obviously the gun sight being fitted down into there as well, and the last bit, all the lumps and bumps, pitot tubes, things like that being fitted onto it. Wire system being fitted on to there as well. Nice that it's actually got the details of all of those being fitted onto this one. And then working onto your weapons and fuel tanks down underneath. So again, putting your bombs or your fuel tanks all underneath of it, just like that. And then we're into your actual colour call out onto these. So they've colour done them as well. to make it a little bit easier for the call outs for it. But there we go, that's all of those going on. Again, some really very, very nice ones down in here. Obviously the famous Flying Tigers, probably the most famous squadron with the P-40 down in China in 1942. And then again, we've got New Guinea as well, very nice as well, down in 1942 as well, down in this one. Again, very famous one as well from the Adak Island. All right, in spring 1943 with the Tigers on the front. And then obviously working your way through to some of these other ones, like we've got Australia in 1942, my favourite, of course, as well, down in Libya in March, May 1942 as well. So with the famous shark-mouthed P-40. Very, very nice indeed. And then last up down in here, we've got one of the New Zealand ones as well. Really nice with those markings. Stencil data, the usual bits and pieces being fitted all to that one. And then, of course, you can make your decision with all of the aftermarket that goes through with this. And I'm not joking when I said there was a lot of it. You can basically build the entire thing. It's like Trigger's broom. So yeah, literally take your pick where you want to go with this one. They've covered every opportunity with this. Again, we did something similar when we did the Tempest a while ago, and we basically cherry picked which bits we wanted for it and when we left the others off. But again, very, very nice. The only thing that isn't there, oh, there is is the engine. I was expecting to see them do sets. Sometimes they do sets for it. Maybe something's going to come down the line a little bit later, but I'll see. Full details on the back there like that. So very, very nice indeed. Then we've got the various parts. So down in here we've got the masking set, always handy to have these days. I must admit I'm a real convert to that. We've got the colour photo etch set again with as well. So you've got your harnesses, as I say, we've got that sort of cowl flap system, the wiring, the various bits and pieces down in here as well. So again, a nice mix of both for that, so that's quite good. And then down in here, I'm not going to worry about getting these out. I have, you know, clearly spoken at length about their decals. I'm not a fan of them, and unfortunately, it's one of the big turn-offs to me with the kits as well with these decals. Yes, you can just use them and not try and take the top film off, but I find them to be not as colourful and as sharp if you don't take the film off the top. And every time I try and take the film off the top, I end up damaging the decal. So again, that's why I'm not a fan of these, and I just wish they'd go back to using Cartograph or something else like that. Personal opinion, of course. Right, so in sprue 1, we have, that's a really, really sticky bag. It's not the usual bags. Okay, so let's start with the fuselage. Okay, again, if we just run straight in up here, you can see how beautiful the surface detail it is. It seems to be with every single kit release, they get finer and finer and finer to the point where I'm really going to get concerned. By the time it's had a coat of primer and a couple of coats of paint, hopefully you still see it. Keep thinning your paint, everybody, so your details show through, but you can probably see the delicateness of all of that riveting, you know, is absolutely fantastic. So very, very nice on there. Over on this side, obviously we've got the door if you wanted to open it up. As we said before, there's an aftermarket bit which goes on the other side. So if you did want to have this door open, you can then look into the fuselage. So again, some nice touches with this kit. But generally, again, it's that high standard that Eduard do with all of their kits, just like that. Then we have the underside. So as you can see down in here, really very, very nice. Beautifully done. The riveting is absolutely exquisite. I have to say, I always say it, but Eduard, whatever it is they do with their riveting and all the rest of it, it's just head and shoulders above everybody else's. So they've really nailed it, or riveted it, I should say, to get it perfect. Some very, very nice details down in there. And again, you've got these little cutouts and things down in here to make fitting. Obviously, we've got some blanks going to go in here for now, but if you are fitting the gun bays and that, they'll fit in there. No problem at all. So again, beautifully, beautifully done with all of those parts. Very nice indeed. All right, next up, obviously we've got the cockpit area and the various things. So there's some stuff down in here we'll be using, some bits and pieces we won't be using. So this is sprue D. And again, we've got prop there, we've got all of the cockpit, and the cockpit looks beautiful the way you've got the details all the way through on here. All right. So again, just looks good, sharp, crisp. you know, the instrument panels, for instance, you know, you've got the actual back of the dials in here, as well as obviously with the fronts of them. So depending as well if you're going to be using the colour photo etch or perhaps not. So again, you've got some nice choices in there just like that. But generally the gear, all the small parts, again, you can see looking absolutely beautiful. Very, very nice indeed. So, okay, next sprue. I'm still getting used to these bags. These bags are weird. They're like polythene bags now, and not the rustly type bags. So, okay, 2 sprues down in here. So again, this one tends to be sort of rockets and weapons on sprue E, and a few other lumps and bumps down on here. But we've got all your exhausts, for instance, and all the other bits and pieces, as you might imagine. So again, nice, good, clean, crisp moulding, not a hint of a sink mark. Very, very nice. But very, very good indeed. All right, and then over here on sprue F, we've got, this is the wheel liners, if you like, for the wheel wells. Very, very nice. We've got the seat at the top there, and the seat side panels. So again, looking very nice. We've got the radiators down in here. Got your wheels, nose spinner, more radiator parts over on here again. So we've got the guns, just little ones just to poke out for the moment. That nice intake system down in here, which has got a nice long trunking onto it as well, so it's not short. All right. So again, I assume this is top of the wheel wells. Again, the attention to detail with things like that, absolutely gorgeous. Really very, very nice. Sharpness personified, really. That's very, very good with all of that. That's very, very nice indeed. Okay, so last up we have the clear parts, which are always beautiful, and these are no exception. Very, very nice. We're only using one of these, clearly, so check your things to make sure you've got the right one. All right, but again, you've got the various parts down in here as well. So we've got the gun sights down in here, all the lights, tiny, 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 tiny little lights on those. In fact, I don't even know if you can see those. They are so small. Beautifully done. Really very, very nice indeed. There you have it. I must admit, it's one of those ones where, you know, it's a kit of two halves, shall we say. And this is just my personal feelings. Take it with a pinch of salt. But the whole point of doing Eduard bigger sets, shall we say, like the Royal class and things like that, used to be for the beautiful researched and done for all the markings you'd get. So you get a lot of markings. Then you get the sort of Profi pack, which I think has around about 6 markings in them as well. And then that way, you know, you usually get the few niceties. So in our case, obviously, we've got the mask set, and we've obviously got the a little bit of colour photo etch and things, but we've got some really, really nice marking options in here as well. And obviously, from my point of view, obviously I'll do the RAF one and stuff. Then obviously you just get the weekend edition, a couple of marking options, you know, and that's about it. But you've still got a beautiful kit. Now, the kit aside is untouchable. It's the best out there by, you know, a country mile, no problem with it. My problem is the decals, and it was one of the reasons people like me, particular, used to buy the Royal classes. And to be honest, my stash is right in front of me. I've got a lot of Royal classes down in there. I've got 109s, I've got Spitfires, I've got Mustangs. But at the end of the day, it's one of those ones where I don't tend to want them anymore, and that's why I steered away from it in the first place. This one, because obviously it's got the RF markings down into it as well, so I thought, you know what, we'll go for this particular one to get it, just purely because it's got those markings in. But then there's still that part of me that hates their decals. I just don't get on with them, and I know it's going to cause chaos down in the comments and all the rest of it, because you get a little bit of a, you know, a two-tier sort of group here. You're going to have one side of you that's thinking they're great, I've never had a problem with it, they're brilliant, don't knock the company, and all the rest of it. Then you get the other side of people, and they're like me, which just wants the old ones back, please. The ones that worked, the ones which weren't any hassle. And the only reason I say it is because the research, the detail, and the decals, and, you know, as the look of visually are absolutely fantastic. It's just this way where the carrier film is on the top now, it just takes the edge off the sharpness of the decal, I find. So over previous builds, I've just left it on. I haven't attempted to try and remove it. And you've just got that sort of cloudiness almost with the decals, which I think is a shame, because the biggest selling point of these kits is the markings. And I just feel they're just letting the side down. And I know I'm not the only one who feels like this. I know I'm not the only one who talks about it quite openly about this as well. And I know I'm probably the only one who's got a problem with it. But I know I'm not. With the Flory membership of 3,500, it's that thing about, we get a bit of a feel for what's going on. And yes, we've got members down in there who have no problem with it. And they say, Phil, you're just crap at it. You're useless. Just get on with it. They'll be fine. I get other people who don't even buy their kits anymore, because obviously a large part of the price is in the decal, and they're having to buy the kit and then go and use somebody else's decals for it. So again, I don't know why Eduard can consistently put their head in the sand and say there's no problem. If there's no problem, what I would like them to do is to do a range of videos, or talk to people like me and other people on the internet and then get the word out there of how to use them correctly. Because blow me, I have tried. Many times have I tried, and I just can't get it to be 100% working. It always tears with me if I try and remove it, or if I leave them down, if I come in with later stage weathering. So if I come in with like enamels and oils and things like that, it attacks that carrier film on the surface and tears it off. Look at a certain Hellcat I did, which actually destroyed it, and I ended up having to use completely aftermarket decals and repaint it. That's how bad it got with it. But that said, the kit itself, unbelievable, beautiful. Go out and buy it. If you struggle with the decals, I would definitely wait on for the weekend editions and then just get decals from somebody else, because unfortunately the Eduard ones just don't make it, in my view, as a product that's worthy to go along with the plastic, if that makes sense. Because the masks are brilliant, the Photo-etched is brilliant, the plastic is brilliant, the clear parts are brilliant. It's just after this entire package you've got of 100%, I can't fault it. I get to the decals and I have to give them a 50-50, because it's 50-50 if it's going to work or not. So what I will say, this is an amazing kit, it's beautiful and all the rest of it, but I still feel it's let down by the decals.